Hello, my name is David Richmond, Associate Professor of History at Harper College, and I'm pleased to be joined today by Harper College President Dr. Kenneth Ender. Dr. Ender has agreed to answer some questions today about his strategic plans for Harper College. Dr. Ender, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for doing this.
Absolutely. So, for the last few years, you have traveled around the country and you've given several professional talks and papers about this idea of communiversity and the future of the American community college system. Can you talk about your vision and how communiversity plays into that?
Right. Be happy to. Maybe it would be helpful just for folks to, as they hear about the communiversity concept or construct, to understand the frame or the context that I'm coming from with respect to believing this would be a solution to a great need. As we've talked lots at the college, and I think in any kind of thoughtful discussion we have about employment in this country, most folks now are willing to sign on to the idea, the fact, that it's almost impossible to think about a person having a job that would pay for the needs of a middle-class family, even with both parents working over the course of a lifetime, that didn't require some post-secondary education. If we look at the current production of post-secondary degrees and certificates in our country, we're still only around 40%. So it's hard to imagine, at least for me to imagine, that a single community college, a single public university on their own would ever be able to be capable of responding to that challenge and that scale. On the other hand, it's not that hard for me to imagine a community college, or several of them, linking electronically to a baccalaureate, public baccalaureate university, forming, if you would, a continuous path of educational production for individuals wanting to access it in real time over the course of a lifetime. And linked to that also some key economic development employment sectors in that region. So you have some informed ongoing conversation about the types of credentials that would be needed to support the major employment sectors in that region or community. Now you begin to get more of a collective impact strategy with respect to how you build out a lifetime of credentialing.
So that's sort of the grand idea. How is this idea of communiversity and these partnerships already playing out at Harper College?
I think if you look at Nexus, this group that is formed by the three districts that send students to us, 220, 211, 214, thank you, and Harper, we sit on a board that develops a common vision around all the students that we serve. So I take that, I add a university to it, I bring in a couple of employment sector partners, put an economic development edge to it, and then find a business services, educational services provider to build my electronic structure. I'm there. It sounds so easy.
It sounds easy. So do you see any drawbacks for Harper College in that kind of system, or is it all positive?
I think if folks had any inkling that perhaps this would be a threat to the brand identity, I think that would be a huge threat and a potential block. On the other hand, I think if we can point to existing networks that we've built, think Nexus, and suggest that what we want to do is add to that to provide further opportunity and to increase our urgency around trying to find a way to get to a scale that we're nowhere near performing at with respect to helping, in our case, our local citizens be successful with post-secondary credentialing. I mean, it's the scale question that, to me, is the most frightening and also promoting the most urgency to having these types of discussions.
Now, you may have already answered this, but do you see other types of partnerships in the future for Harper College?
Well, clearly the partnership that has emerged with the new Fitness, Recreation, and Wellness Center, with the Palatine Park District contributing $9 million of capital funds in exchange for use of the pool, Northwest Community Hospital coming in and adding 10,000 additional square feet to that facility. I think that's a great example of the type of partnerships that the community needs to be thinking about with respect to tying together the capital resources and the human resources, the human capital of these various enterprises we have that have heretofore been able to operate pretty much on their own feet. It doesn't look like a lot of the business models are sustainable as we've known them. So how do we get more with the same dollars? And I can't think of a better way to at least approach it without trying to think about potential partners to bring into the mix.
When we make these partnerships, these long-term agreements, how does Harper protect itself from any either declines in service from these partnerships or even just sort of a loss of control of the decision-making process that we might have going forward?
Right. That's a great question. That all has to be articulated in a written contract that is bounded by time and has certain deliverables attached over a course of time that gives both partners the opportunity to opt out if not satisfied with the outcomes that had been agreed to. That's the hardest part of the whole deal.
Can you talk about how these partnerships will not only benefit our students, but will actually prioritize our students as opposed to just the whole community? Not that the community isn't a priority, but...
Yeah. The only part of that facility that's recreation in nature that will have a real shared priority and in many instances a nod to the community first would be the pool. And it was failing. It was either going to have to get a major redo and new operation system, new pumps, and the whole 9 yards, or we just close it. And frankly, I was willing to close it 3 years ago. And I went around and asked some of the community that used the pool and realized, and I really had an epiphany about this, this is a tremendous community asset. Palatine Park District, the YMCA, actually were big renters of our pool. They used it a ton. So the question became, are you willing to put some skin in the game to save the pool in exchange for you getting a priority around its use? So the way it's balanced is 70% of the usage will go to the Palatine Park District and 30% will go to the college, and we will share the operating expenses accordingly. So it's a pretty good deal, I think. We're going to the fitness room downstairs in the basement. That's gone, and you'll walk into a 10,000 square foot facility upstairs, coming right off the main floor. That will be right in your face, a beautiful fitness room, bounded by exercise rooms, spinning rooms, aerobic rooms, and programs that students can sign up for and go into just because they're a card-paying member of the center.
And can you talk a little bit more about how students will have access to the health center part of it?
The health center, the Northwest Community Hospital,
yes.
They'll have access to it like we have access to any health center today.
You mentioned that there's going to be some costs to the students for these services. Can you talk about the proposed universal fee and what's involved in that? So
currently we charge, let me separate the fees. We have a student activity fee that we charge students. We're not asking you if you're going to do anything, we're just charging you the fee. Then we charge on a credit basis, and we're going to add to those three fees this health and fitness fee. It'll be $3 a credit hour. So per credit hour, when you bundle all those fees together, a student would pay $19 a credit hour for those services. They've been unbundled heretofore. We're going to bundle them now into a universal fee. We went to the per credit basis because we were very concerned that part-time students should be charged based on their their ability to use these facilities. And so that's why we didn't adopt a fee like the student activity fee. That's it's just a bifurcated fee. You pay this or you pay that, irrespective of whether or not you're taking 9 hours, 10 hours, 11, or 12 or more. And the other thing we've done with that fee is we've added, as a benefit to paying it, access to the parking garage for students. The fee will start at $1.50 a credit hour starting in the spring. And then next summer, it would go up another $1.50 to get to the $3, and it's $3 going forward.
To go back to to where we started with this idea of communiversity, do you see other schools sort of embracing this model that you have laid out for us today?
Communiversity, that's a kindergarten. That means it's about as much as, nothing. But they're going to come up with concepts and constructs that are going to be about leveraging resources, linking institutions through a common network that's much more accessible to more people. I believe that.
That wraps up the questions I wanted to ask you today, but is there anything else that you would like to share with the Harper community?
I guess more than anything else, that I've appreciated your support. I've appreciated the good questions that I get around some of these crazy notions I have. I certainly have to say that a lot of folks at Harper have bought on into the notion that a lot more students here have to be a lot more successful, and they've worked real hard in trying to make that happen. So I feel very good about the journey thus far.
Very good. Well, I'd like to say thank you.
Thank you
for being here today and to sitting in the hot seat and answering questions sort of on the record and for the Harper community. And I would like to thank you, the Harper community, for watching and letting us know that if you got other questions that we can bring to Dr. Ender in the future. Thank you. Have a great day.